Hey everyone, I'm Almar of almarsguides.com, and in this video here I'm going to be talking to you about weaponsmithing for a profit in Kenshi. So, weaponsmithing is one of the harder professions that make a profit from, and the main reason for that is because it takes so long for it to actually become profitable. You start out with a weaponsmith 1, and the most you can make from that I think is Katoon grade 1 or grade 3. I think it might be grade 3 is the most you can make from that. And then when you upgrade that, I think the most you can make is an MK1. And then after that, you finally get to Weaponsmith 3, and then you can make up to MK3 and Edge Type 1 as well as Edge Type 2 weapons. So, as far as making money through weaponsmithing goes, you will not make any money whatsoever with the basic weaponsmith. However, the basic weaponsmith is the best one to use for raising your skill, because weaponsmith numero uno only uses iron plates. It doesn't use fabric, and it doesn't use steel bars. Once you upgrade the weaponsmith to number 2, it will start using fabric and iron plates. However, it will not use steel bars yet. Once you upgrade the weaponsmith to number 3, that's when it finally starts using steel bars and fabric, which is going to make it the most costly weapons, or the most costly you can make weapons. So what you want to do mostly, if you want to maximize it, is stick with weaponsmith 1 until your character gets like 80 to 90 plus weaponsmithing. Let me take a look at Ruka right here. She's my weaponsmith, and you can see she's at 92 weaponsmithing right now, which is more than enough to make the best weapons in the game. She can never make Edge Type 3 weapons unless you're using mods, and she can't make Me Too weapons unless you're using mods. So the most she can make is Edge Type 1, and then that can crit and make an Edge Type 2. However, you can't reliably make Edge Type 2, you can only make them when you crit. However, the higher weapon skill you have, the more often you will crit, so there is that. So keep that in mind. So, you can start making a profit when you upgrade to weaponsmith number 2. That'll be the first time you can start making a small profit. However, it is going to be a small profit. You won't be able to start making a big profit until you upgrade to Weaponsmith 3 and you unlock higher tiers of weaponsmithing. So, when you have the first weaponsmith, I think when you're like tech level 4 and under, you're going to be researching things called basic weapon grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think it goes up to 6. After you finish researching all of the basic weapon grades, you're going to be able to start making advanced, or you're going to be able to start researching advanced weapon grades. And I think you can do 2 or 3 of those until eventually you reach the final rank, which is Edgewalkers. Edgewalkers are how you make Edge Type 1 and 2 weapons. Once you start unlocking the advanced weapon grades, you're only going to be able to make the MK1 to 3 weapons. And eventually when you've maxed out advanced weapon grades, you will eventually sometimes be able to crit and make Edge Type 1 weapons, but you will not be able to crit and make Edge Type 2 weapons. So essentially, once you unlock advanced weapon grades, that's when you're going to start making a profit. A decent profit, I should say. When you have the very basic Weaponsmith 1 and you've maxed it out and you can make Katoon Type 3 weapons, the profit is very, very small. It's like 30 cats or something like that. Sorry, hiccups. Then once you upgrade to weaponsmithing number 2, the profit will go up to, I think, about 1,000 cats at most. I can't remember the exact math, but it really doesn't start kicking up the profit into the thousands until you get to advanced weapon grades, weaponsmith number 3, and then eventually once you can start making the Edgewalkers. As far as what items you want to make for the most profit, there's let me find my adventuring group, there we go. Guardless katanas, as well as katanas just in general, in my opinion, are the best things you can make for a profit. And the reason for this is they take up the least amount of space, but they also have some of the highest sell prices. And also, you have to keep in mind the guardless katanas will sell for more. Like, look at this, the ninja blade that I make. That I found. This is a Me Too weapon, so it's the highest quality weapon in the game. And you'll notice that the sell value is 6,200. But if we look over at this guardless katana, we can see that the Edge Type 1, the sell value is actually more than the ninja blade. And if we look at the edge type 2, you can see the sell value is much more than the Ninja Blade. It's about like, I think 1,000, like 900 more, something like that. Maybe 1,000 more. So guardless katanas, in my honest opinion, are the best things that you can make. This weapon right here, the Desert Saber, you can see that it's a little bit, it sells for a little bit more. Like, hold on, let me do a side-by-side comparison here. So you can see, actually it sells for the same exact amount. That's interesting. One thing about the Desert Saber, though, it takes up more inventory space, and it weighs 7 kg more. So this is why I recommend you make the guardless katana if all you're doing is looking for money making. Also, one thing that's worth mentioning about the guardless katana too is this is actually one of the best DPS sidearm weapons you can get in the entire game. So even if you don't plan on selling all of the weapons you make, you can still use them. Desert Saber is also one of the best main hand weapons you can use in the entire game. It has some of the highest defensive bonuses of all weapons you can get. And it's also very good against animals, as you can see. The only downside about using cutting weapons is the damage you deal will be based on your dexterity stat instead of your strength stat, which is kind of unfortunate because it's a lot easier to raise strength than it is to raise dexterity. So that's something you have to keep in mind. Anyway, if you want to make money through weaponsmithing, guardless katanas, they are the way to go. If you're wondering where to get the guardless katana recipes, there should be a few locations in the game you can buy them. However, you can always come to this building in Black Scratch, the Great Library. Let me show you this building. This building has so many recipes for sale, and you can probably find what you need here. You can see all of these recipes. More often than not, these recipes are going to be for armor, though, and not weapons. You can see the polearm, that's one weapon. Let's, Nodachi, Wakazashis, Toppers, Katanas, the Plank, Ninja Blades, Long Swords, Ring Sabers, Short Cleaver, Fragment Axe, Hold Sabers. They might not have yeah, so they're not selling the guardless katanas here right now, but it might restock and actually sell the guardless katanas at some point in the near future. So let's start selling some of these goodies that we have. And as you can see, we'll cap out very, very quickly the vendor's resources. That vendor started with 25k. However, we basically just sold everything we needed, and or we sold a handful of weapons and basically capped out with the vendor's money. So you it's up to you how many of these you want to make and how many characters you want to load up. Since these katanas are very light, you can carry quite a few of them, honestly. You pretty much, if you load up, I would say 4 or 5 characters, if they're using large backpacks, you would probably have to stand around in town for maybe 2 or 3 days to sell everything that you get. The alternative is you can buy skeleton repair kits if you're in a place where they're not selling where they don't have a very large price markup. There's other things you can buy too if the vendors sell something that you want. Like I could buy archery arrows over at this vendor here and stockpile them so he has more money. But we're just going to sell stuff for the purposes of this video. I'm in the town of Black Scratch now, like I said before too, which is important because there's quite a few vendors in Black Scratch actually. Sadly though, some of these vendors don't start with 25k, they only start with like 10k, which means I can sell like half as much as I would normally sell to them. So as far as money making through weaponsmithing goes, in my opinion, this is actually kind of one of the better ways to make money because you will need to make a lot of weapons in order to max your weaponsmithing skill, because the only reliable way to get the best in slot weapons in this game is through weaponsmithing. You have to make your own pretty much. So you're going to be raising weaponsmithing anyway. So take advantage of making money off of them, making money off of what you get. All of the high-end weapons are only going to require steel and fabric to make anyway, which you can farm all of that and mass produce it on your own, so long as you're by an iron mine and so long as you are growing either cotton or hemp. I would recommend you grow hemp because it has better yields as far as fabric goes. The only thing you have to watch out for is hemp is illegal in some spots. So that is that's just an issue that you have to watch out for. Another tip I can give you is, you've seen my Ruka stuck at the start of this video. I had to manually remove the item from her inventory myself. Sometimes this will happen, like you see this weapon cabinet that I have open right now. She'll try to fit a weapon into that weapon cabinet. Just like she'll try to fit one of these Desert Sabers in there, despite the fact that it won't fit into the weapon cabinet. Okay, occasionally your characters do this. Like you'll see Holtberg, he's actually stuck right now because he's trying to fit either of these items into this weapon cabinet, but he can't do it because there's not enough room. This is just one of the bugs of Kenshi that happens very often. You have to keep an eye out for it. I don't want those items, I'll just drop them on the ground. They're not masterwork quality. So you have to keep an eye out for that as far as your characters go when you're making these items. I think essentially what it checks for is how many open spots are in here in the case, and if it registers it has enough open spots for to put an item in, it'll just like stand there and not actually put the item in. And as far as selling your weapons go, one good thing about making money through weaponsmithing is you can sell these weapons anywhere, and there is not going to be any difference in price no matter where you sell them. So unlike with when you make alcohol, you usually have to sell the alcohol in the correct spot. Like if you're selling cactus rum, you don't want to sell it in a place where it's negative 25% price markup. You want to sell it in a spot where it's plus 25%. If you're making sake, it's going to be the same rule. Weapons, universal, doesn't matter where you sell them. They're always going to sell for the same price. The only issue you have to worry about when it comes to selling weapons is essentially finding vendors that can afford all of the weapons you're going to sell to them. As you've seen at the start of this video, I cleared out pretty much all of the vendors in this town, used up all their cats, and I still have tons of weapons to sell. Like, Almar still has quite a few on him, my pack mule still has quite a few, and Maui still has a full inventory of weapons for sale that he needs to sell. So, it's going to be a while, me sitting in this town. I still got quite a few characters to unload and to sell their stuff. Now, there is tricks you can do to get around this. If I wanted to import my game, I could restock the money on all of these vendors. However, I really don't like importing my game to just to restock the cats on the vendors. I usually only import game when I need to restock a vendor or do some sort of other trick in Kenshi, or, you know, use import game for what it's actually used for, when your characters get stuck or when you bug out the game in such a way that you can't unbug it. Technically, when your characters get stuck, you can just use reset squad position. But sometimes the game bugs out in such a way. Why is this guy following me? I have a Reaver ex-slave that's following around my group for whatever reason. But that's really all there is to it. I can't think of any other information that I can drop for you in this video. I guess the only thing I can tell you is, as far as advanced weapon grades go, you're going to need a lot of ancient science books. One place you can get good ancient science books, aside from just running around and exploring the entire world for ancient science books, you can go to Flats Lagoon and you can buy ancient science books from the engineering vendor here. You can also buy engineering research, which you're going to need some of too, in order to learn all of the researching that you need. As far as Edgewalkers, the final rank of weaponsmithing, that is going to require AI cores. So there's two places you can get AI cores. One, you can go to Deadlands. There's going to be a city right in the middle of Deadlands, and there's going to be a section attached to that city called Scrap House. Scrap House is going to sell AI cores. However, it's going to be a lot like Flats Lagoon in the sense that you can only buy, I think, 2 from the Scrap House as far as AI cores go. From Flats Lagoon, you can either buy 7 or 8 ancient science books and 2 engineering researches. If you want to restock the vendors, then do that import game trick, and the vendors will restock, and you can infinitely buy over and over and over and over and over again as many ancient science books, AI cores, or engineering research as you want. If you're not going to do the import game trick, then the only place to reliably get basically as many AI cores as you want is Ashlands. There are cleanser units that walk around Ashlands that will drop AI cores when you kill them. And that is actually why my base is right here, because I've been using this base as a forward base to go into Ashlands, farm up AI cores, and then basically return to my base and then research. I just unlocked Edgewalkers not too long ago, which is why I'm able to make the best quality weapons, Edge Type 1 and Edge Type 2. They're the best ones you can make without mods, as I said earlier in this video. If you want to make Edge Type 3 or Me 2 weapons, then you're going to need to download mods. But anyway, that's all there is to it. If you guys need more information about weaponsmithing for profit, be sure to check out my website, almarsguides.com. There's going to be a written guide that goes along with this video. And of course, if I forgot anything, left anything out, or I was wrong about anything, let me know in the comment section below. That way everybody gets all of the correct information they need. Aside from that though, I will catch you guys around in the next Kenshi video. Peace.